Before you start the show, just know this is a series finale episode, so there are a few spoilers for Sons of Anarchy, Battlestar Galactica, Game of Thrones, Stranger Things, Breaking Bad, Barry, Wonder Years, Ozark, and Andor. With that being said, enjoy the show. Welcome to Best Most. I'm your host, Jose Jogo Gonzalez. This is a podcast where we ask the questions, what is the best or what is the most? For example, we ask questions like, what is the best album to wind down at the end of the day? Or what is the most effective world building in a movie or TV show? Before each episode, I ask our online community a question that our guests had chosen as our topic. I then go over the community answers with our guests. We also discuss our own answers. You can check out and answer the questions on best.most.pod on Instagram. Join the conversation. Today, we welcome a film director, an editor, and co-founder of a free quarterly film race called Breakneck. I'd like to welcome to Best Most, Matthew Bauer. Hey, Matt.
Hey, how's it going? Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thanks for being here. Now, as always, our guest chooses the question for the show conversation. Our question for this episode is, what is the most satisfying series finale? Matt Bauer, what made you choose this question?
Oh, gosh. One memory comes to mind was back in college when I went to for a film degree, and I asked my professor, who's also the admin of the building, I said, can you ever choose like how to end a show on your own terms? And this was like in the mid-aughts. This is before you had the golden era of television. So his immediate response was like, no way, you don't get a say in the matter, And to a strong degree, he's not wrong in it. But that I think hearing that not only motivated me to maybe one day make a strong show from beginning to end, but also appreciate those that do actually end with some grace and dignity, So I once I saw that one, there's at least a couple that come to mind. One is a particular favorite, but I'm also very curious to see which one's your favorite as well as what other people think too.
Yeah, can't wait. Let's get right into it. What are your community answers?
So I have a couple here. Most satisfying series finale. So Malcolm recommended Gilmore Girls. Apparently, they had a reboot not too long ago that was kind of like pick up where it left off. And that apparently, according to her, it was a lot more fulfilling and satisfying. And it almost feels like a cheat. I've seen Gilmore Girls on and off when it was airing originally growing up. And I only say it feels like a cheat because like when you come back eventually to pick it up, is that the same? Does that negate how it ended before?
Yeah.
However, I did like Dexter growing up, even though it had a bad ending. I thought the season 9 that they did was a great ending. But apparently it's not the end because it keeps on going. And so I guess, what do I know?
Well, what's funny about Dexter is that the first episode I watched was the last episode of the show, like the series finale of the show.
Oh, the original series, not
yes.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah.
Yeah, I went to my sister's house and they were watching the series finale.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just hanging out and I watched that whole episode. So that was the first episode of Dexter I've ever watched was the finale.
That's wild because what were your initial thoughts of it with zero context?
It was very confusing because I remember there was something about a boat and it seemed like someone was coming back from the dead or something like that. I couldn't tell you what really happened, but years later, my wife actually, she loves Dexter. So she started like binging it, watching it from start to finish. I would see little bits and pieces and it kind of made sense a little bit more.
I mean, it makes sense. My opinion on that season is that like it was good up to the halfway point, and then it did that thing where, in my opinion, it kind of some shows do this. I guess I don't know whether they feel like the plug is getting pulled and they have only so many episodes to react. But to me, the quality of the writing just kind of it took a very unexpected dip, I suppose. when his partner or that he hooks up with in season 7. Are we allowed to go into spoilers? I feel like we are if we're talking about series finales, right?
Yeah,
Oh,
for
okay,
sure.
gotcha.
Yeah, and I'll do a disclaimer at the beginning of the show too as well.
Yeah, that's right. Perfect. Okay, great. Yeah, I there was just something about that turning point for me that was like, all right, this just feels like they're trying to rush themselves out the door or whatever. But the show also had some really good seasons along the way, though, so I can't knock it for that.
One thing that surprised me about the show, and I would watch it with my wife, is how humorous it was.
Hmm.
There's a lot of dark humor, and the series finale, it was so serious, and I get why it was serious, but watching it later on, it's a pretty, I wouldn't say goofy show, like, that sounds negative.
Hmm.
It's just a really light show in some weird ways. Pokes fun at itself quite a bit.
Yeah. Oh, totally. Yeah. The narration of it all, and just
Mm.
how it's like this. I mean, I was going to say dramatic irony. I don't really think that. I don't know if that applies so much. No, there is dramatic irony because you do follow other perspectives and characters. However, that show does at times bug me when it's like you're following. Who was the horny detective in that show? Where like he had a whole sub arc all on his own that just felt so disconnected from everything else.
I don't
Um,
know. I didn't know it well enough. I know there was the bald detective that
yeah,
was
that's the one.
okay. They
Yeah.
have, like, memes of that guy too, right?
Oh, of course. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, shoot. I wish I'd remember those names. But yeah. No, funny enough though, Dexter was not chosen. But I part of me wonders what the new pickup show was about and whether or not that's getting an ending. They
Yeah.
have a prequel also in the works. I saw a trailer once to it, and I was glad Michael C. Hall's the VO, but it just once I saw it was like, here's the younger version of the entire cast from the original. I was like, is this Muppet Babies of
Young
Dexter? I don't know.
young Sheldon of Dexter.
Exactly, the young Sheldon of it all. Oh gosh. But yeah, as far as Gilmore Girls goes, again, haven't really seen too much of it. I appreciate it for what it is, and apparently the reboot finale was good.
I think my only gripe with Gilmore Girls from what I've watched is the cadence of their dialogue.
Very sharp,
Yeah.
very 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 fast paced. Okay, so my wonderful wife Deandra has picked as a satisfying series finale. She picked the original Sabrina the Teenage Witch.
Hmm. Do you have any more?
I do have this other one, the other one from Malcolm, called This Is Us. This Is Us, again, barely saw, but apparently the showrunner, I was told this morning, the showrunner envisioned it being exactly 6 seasons and managed to
Hmm.
get exactly what he wanted out of it at the end. So,
That's
like,
crazy.
yeah, that's pretty nuts. I don't know how like how many seasons something needs to tell your story, but kudos to him or her. I don't even know the showrunner.
I just remember that show is the show that you watch to cry your ass off.
Yeah, yeah, that's the tearjerker. How about do you have any community responses?
Yeah. Okay, let's see. Let's go right into them. So Nina, she chose Attack on Titan. She said, some people might be mad at that ending, but I found it satisfying. It was pretty realistic.
Are you an Attack on Titan fan?
I'm not a very big anime person, but I know it's amazing because it has so many fans.
All right. Well, I will not spoil that last season because I think the last season's a work of art, in my opinion, having a deep appreciation for everything leading up to it. But one thing I'm going to be overtly critical about without spoiling story
Sure.
is that they started doing this the season prior, which is breaking it up into parts. And I get that they're producing this with a lot of like high production value. So I understand that like maybe you need to keep people's interests in order to, I don't know, keep funding going for all I know. But what they did was in the last season, they tee you up with a very specific narrative. There's some twists and turns along the way. And then that's it. And you're like, what? It's over? And then shortly after it airs, because I'm watching the sub, so like I'm not waiting for the dub months
Mhm.
on end. There's an article that drops, I believe, that says, and there's going to be more episodes. The finale is going to come through sometime next year. And you're like, wait, what? But I thought this was the end of it. So that was part 1 of the ending. And then part 2 of the ending comes, and that's like another 12 or so episodes. And you get to this conclusion, and I'm like, holy cow, this feels so great, but it doesn't feel resolved yet. And then you hear, then there's going to be 2 special full feature length episodes left after that. And I'm like, I can't. And so I gave it a boycott until I knew it was completely done, which I'm glad, because then they blue balls you for another 6 months after the next special came out. And I like the ending. I like the story. I do want to give it another watch in dub this time or next time, just to appreciate the lore a bit more. But great show, great allegory, great stuff. I love it.
Jason Chavez chose Wonder Years. He said that it was bittersweet, did well, capturing coming of age with perspective maturing. I kind of shot him a message back, and I thought that ending was actually really emotional, realistic, and satisfying in the way that, I mean, we're going to spoil this anyway, but
Sure.
that he and Winnie hook up.
Yeah.
They were at odds at the beginning of the episode, and then they kind of connect again because it's raining. And
yeah, in like a shed or something like that, or
a barn, I think.
That's it. Yeah.
And then they're on their way to meet his family or something like that. And then the end of it, it's like voiceover and talks about what happened after the show. And the dad dies like years later or something like that, or a few months later. I forgot what it was, but I know it was really kind of sad.
Yeah.
And then he talks about how Winnie has her family, her kids, and he has his own family and his kids. Initially, when I watched it, I thought it was really sad and I didn't like it. And then years later, growing up, I can appreciate it a lot more.
And I just remember from watching that show at late night reruns that it was like that his dad was a hard ass. And maybe I'm misremembering, but I thought that was a very simple moment, and reinforcing with that. I was like, oh man, I got to call my dad now. See how he's doing. But
yeah, what a good show though.
It was a good show. I liked it.
Veronica, she chose Breaking Bad.
Oh, interesting.
Ricardo Peralta chose, he said, going old school, MASH. For more current, I'll be a contrarian and say Lost. So Rosa, my wife, she chose Breaking Bad. And as she said, because it ties everything up in the best way. Edro Di Carmona, my brother, he said, it's a hard one for me. I didn't watch a lot of TV until my late 30s. Maybe Sons of Anarchy, because Jax fulfills his dad's legacy of the motorcycle club, and he gets his revenge on those who tried to stop his dad from doing what he felt was right for the future of the club.
My dad was a fan of Sons of Anarchy. Yeah, so I think he said he liked the ending as well. That Breaking Bad.
Greg chose. Trying to help you out here.
I know. Appreciate it.
Greg chose Mayans MC on FX and Hulu. Shout out to FX and Hulu. I'm kidding.
Yeah,
I have a friend who worked on Mayans as well. So what's up?
Oh,
what
sick.
up, Seth? What up, Seth? How's it going? Mayans. Carlos Morales chose. He said, Breaking Bad was amazing, but Battlestar Galactica was the best ending ever.
My wife watched Battlestar Galactica sometime last year for the first time. And I saw the first few episodes of the first season. I was like, all right, this is cool. Didn't really stick with it though. And then she just comes to me like at the end of the second to last episode of the series. And she's like, this is insane. There's no way that they could possibly wrap this all up. And then she comes back after watching the last episode. And I'm waiting to hear like this hilarious shitstorm of how bad it is. And she's like, I think it's one of the greatest things that has ended in such a way it has. And she ends up going into like, well, I could not really, I mean, I heard her explain and unravel the drama as it went, but not being connected to the characters, I really couldn't give you an actual rundown, except for the fact that apparently it's the origin of Mormonism. Or something like that. Yeah. It's apparently set in the past, and Earth today is the distant future of that realm. And like, yeah, it's it seemed very heady, and I just was not, and I heard it, and I'm like, sci-fi can be very wacky and out there. So for her suspending her disbelief all the way up to then and being in love with it, I kind of have to take her word for it
Yeah.
because that's like the world, the sandbox she's been playing in, I guess. Quick question though, Mayans, I not never watched that. Is that a
Hmm.
spin-off of Sons of Anarchy though? I was
It
always
is.
it is. Okay. Vaguely, I was just curious. But I'm glad that had a good finale too.
Yeah.
Some
So Alex Paz, he chose Stranger Things, The Office, Naruto, and Ozark.
Which of those have you seen?
I've seen Stranger Things, I've seen The Office, and I've seen Ozark. I've never seen Naruto.
I've never seen Naruto either, but Ozark I thought was very interesting
Hmm.
because it's like it's almost as if it's a seasonal finale rather than a series finale. You
Oh, I
know what
can
I
see that.
mean? Yeah, because it's like they're almost stuck in this this loop of death. Because I think the showrunners were talking about how like their last name Bird is like some sort of symbolic of death. I think, and where they
Hmm.
bring death with them. So the fact that they don't get out of it
Yeah.
and that they are just having to continue doing whatever it is they're going to do.
Hmm.
At first I was not really a big fan of it, but it's been growing on me a bit, you know.
Yeah. Don't they all kind of embrace their place in violence pretty much?
Pretty much, yeah. And like with the kid like blasting that agent who like has been kind of creeping in on the last season, like honing in on these the family, trying to get them pull a Hank from Breaking Bad, if you will. And then like once you finally get that moment, it just gets resolved real quick. And I was a
Yeah.
bit let down by that at first, but you know, I think a show like that, for it to be as stressful as it was for
Mhm.
so long, I feel like it's a fitting punishment for the Bird family.
So let's see. Sam Slick, he said the most satisfying, Freaks and Geeks. There wasn't some big resolution or clarification. Every character was a little scattered from where they started the show. It was a refreshingly realistic portrayal of growing up. And although
Hmm.
we only got one season of the show, it was incredible, and I'm glad it ended before it lost the magic. The most shows run too long. If Stranger Things had finished after one season, it would be legendary, but it has dragged on way too long and lost any connection to humanity. Before I spend too much time bashing how bad Stranger Things became, I'll end by advocating that you go watch Freaks and Geeks again.
Oh, that's very backhanded, sweet, bittersweet. I have only seen a few episodes of Freaking Geeks, so I'd consider seeing that. Though I did see Stranger Things, and I can't disagree with them. I can't disagree with them. It was
Yeah.
I was disappointed, but like not in the way that like I didn't see it coming. I felt
Hmm.
like it was. I had more so a gripe with the last season because it just felt overall so unearned. I thought the fourth season was had some fun twists and turns, and then
Yeah.
they tee up season five, and then season five comes around, and I feel like it's literally just this cycle of like characters grab objects, they portray the story, what it is, and what they have to do next, and then they go walk over there to the next place that they got to go to, and then they have a meanwhile back at the ranch effect, and then you cut to these other characters while they talk about their personal feelings and their inner struggles that they got to convey because they need to have character development, I guess. I mean,
Hmm.
that's the only thing that's left of it. Though I will say there was like one or two like cool sceneries and like a cool revelation, like knowing that the upside down's more of a wormhole. I thought that was creative.
That's cool.
Yeah, and then like that how they had like a room that was kind of like breaking the rules of logic and melting in some ways, but like not hot. I don't know.
Yeah.
Uh, Beyond that though, I mean, did you finish Stranger Things?
I did. I liked the series finale. The actual series finale I enjoyed.
Hmm.
I will say that before that, it was okay.
Yeah.
I did really like when they got into the whole Freddy Krueger-esque of it all.
Oh, which what do you mean? Which part?
The main villain, Vecna,
Oh yeah, Vecna. I thought Vecna was a well crafted character in season four. Yeah.
but it was very Freddy
Hmm.
Krueger-like, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
before that, I felt that it was gonna be a little bit redundant, but I'm glad that happened so that it would bring more life to the show.
Yeah.
But I think the last season kind of dragged on, and it felt very tacked on. And at the end of it, I liked the season finale. I thought it was really touching. Of course, I don't want to give. I guess I don't want to give too much away because it's pretty.
It's freshish,
Yeah,
I
for
guess,
sure.
right? Yeah, that's fair.
But I
Um,
did enjoy it. I didn't
did I,
enjoy the last season, but I enjoyed the actual episode of the series finale.
sure. That's actually kind of how I felt about Game of Thrones. Did you watch that one?
I did.
Yeah, like
So
there's some.
wait, you enjoyed the series finale? I mean, I'm
Well,
not judging, by the way.
no, I could tell you are.
No, no, not at all.
I no, I'm just teasing. I come from the background of like waiting until the year before the last season came out to like just binge watch through all 7 seasons that were out. So I don't have as much invested for that exact reason. I just didn't want years of expectations put onto these characters. Had a fun ride though, seasons 1 through 7.
Mhm.
And then you get up to episode 3 of the last season, the Battle of Winterfell, and it's just there's just so much squandered potential, I think, in terms of scope. I think the battle and the execution and the spectacle of it had its moments, but there clearly was so much like broken logic in what followed afterwards,
Yeah.
and like how it came about to the very last episode. While the last episode itself didn't bother me per se, just how they got there felt a bit lazy and a bit like just not thought out. And
Yeah.
they're clearly never going to right that wrong, but I don't think it's ever like held up as an IP ever since then.
They would have had to build it up a little bit more for her to have that payoff of losing your shit at the end.
Absolutely.
But I'm glad. Like, it's kind of weird. I'm in the minority of people who liked her ending in a way.
Mhm.
I just would have wanted it to build a little bit more. I think that's about it.
By her, you mean the protagonist gone
Ye-
antagonist? Okay.
yes.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
I can see that.
I also like someone. I was talking to my coworker Nina the other day, and she was talking about how she didn't really like Jon Snow's ending.
Hmm.
I thought it was. I thought it was okay. I mean,
Yeah.
at the end of the day, he kind of can do whatever he wanted anyway. Like, they're like, "Hey,
Yeah.
wink, wink. You have to stay
Yeah.
here. Wink, wink." And then he just kind of takes off anyway.
I love those are the memes. It was like it's like a still of the port as the Dothraki ships fly off or whatever or sail
Mhm.
off, and then Sansa's like, "Lol, you could stand up now." They're gone.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, there's some frustrations to it, but I can't be like overly critical because I did put 8 years of connections to those characters, and I have to respect that.
Yeah, maybe I'm the same because we did the same thing. We binged it the whole thing,
Oh, nice.
so
Okay,
we didn't have to wait every week to watch it. We just watched the whole thing right away.
that's smart.
Okay, so let's go into your pick. What do you got?
Well, so I have. I'm not going to cheat and say I have two, but one did recently come up as of a couple days ago while chatting with my wife about it, and I'm just going to call it an honorable mention.
I have three, so you're good.
Oh, okay, great. Barry, have you seen Barry?
Yeah, I've seen Barry. I liked it a lot.
I liked it a lot. I did not expect to like it as much as I did, and when I was thinking about it, actually, she mentioned it, and I was just like, "Oh, wow." And I was just
Mhm.
like, this is the characters are very well they all have a bit of like a journey, and the amount of time skips that happen in the last season are very they catch you off guard, but they're intriguing as opposed to like feeling like these cheap shots out of nowhere,
Yeah.
and they make me want to like wonder who else is like still alive, or like what they're up to, and just the turn it took, I think, which to me was like the most noticeable starting season 3, when Barry starts hallucinating bullet holes in people's heads while talking to them. Do you remember that?
I watched it when it was on years ago,
Sure.
so yeah.
Okay, that's fair. Well, I mean, the moment he starts doing that, I think that was the telltale for me to being like, oh, wow, the show's going like really grim really fast now. And it's kind of, and it feels earned, I suppose.
Mhm.
And I like that a lot. And I think every direction and twist and turn they took it in the last season was just so unexpectedly great.
I really enjoyed Barry. Big reason is that it didn't really pull any punches.
It didn't.
It surprised you a lot. It surprised me a lot.
Mhm.
And there's still comedy, but it didn't dictate where the story was gonna go too much,
Yeah.
if that makes any sense.
No, totally. It's like that show that someone mentioned earlier, Breaking Bad. I think
Mhm.
it likes to be a comedy. It tries to. It doesn't even try. It just likes to find a balance, I suppose.
Yeah.
But it knows what it is at the end of the day. And Barry absolutely is like, yeah, it starts more lighthearted in season one, of course, and having these hilarious situations, such as like in season two, where he was about to be murdered
Mhm.
by NoHo Hank, only to then be recruited by NoHo Hank to train his people, and then only just for him to at the end of it kill all of those people. While trying to go after somebody else, and the journey it takes there, even in season three with what's his scumbag partner's name. Do you remember?
I don't remember his name, but I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, like his character journey that he goes on in season three in particular is hilarious. Especially when he just like has so many opportunities to get away, and like he actually embraces the life of tranquility, and then just one thing just sets him off, and he's like, "Nope, I got to go ruin Barry's life now." And and the fact that it happens after getting shot down by the people you sent off to go kill him as well, and like that's not even enough.
Yeah.
And the fact that his character fully reconciles with his life once he's forced and left in jail for what, 8 years, I think it is.
I like how, those characters can't escape themselves.
They can't. You're right.
Yeah, Barry can't escape himself. He moves very far away with, his wife and his kid,
Hmm.
and it's still in him. He's still a murderer. He's still a killer. And
Yeah.
same thing with, NoHo Hank and, his lover or partner. They're all, like, horrible people, and I like that the show doesn't take that away from them. It
Hmm.
shows what happens in time, and I think that's great.
I agree.
I really also enjoy, Henry Winkler's character too as well. That guy goes through so much shit. Oh my god.
Yeah. He is so well written. And I mean,
Well
and
acted. Amazing.
yeah, absolutely. He knocks it out of the park. And he really does embrace the trauma of it all. When you think he's going to be just like your average Hollywood grifter, until it's
Mhm.
like it comes to his doorstep, all the bullshit. And gosh, I just remember it was like at the top of season three where Barry is like, "If you say anything, I'm going to kill your family right here in front of you." And then is like, "Do you love me?" And I was just like, "Oh my god!" Like Barry's
Yeah.
unhinged. And now I'm really very curious to see what oh man, all these names, even though the finale I love it, like a lot of these names are escaping me except NoHo Hike and Barry,
Yeah.
but well performed, well portrayed. What about you? Do you have you said you have three. What's one of them?
Okay, let's do it. We'll go back and forth.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah.
my honorable mention is Reservation Dogs. Have you seen that?
I got halfway through the first season
Mhm.
and I just fell off it. I really did want to get into it. I think there was something about the pacing of it, I guess, that like it was screaming like Atlanta vibes,
Oh,
which
yeah.
another good show that I did see to completion, and I like that it seems to somewhat draw parallels to that like anthology spirit, where each episode is kind of like a day in the life and everything.
Yeah.
But I just thought it just didn't grip me, unfortunately.
So I did write the show is underrated, hilarious, heartbreaking, and gives insight to life on the res.
Hmm.
I'd never seen a comedy drama that had indigenous people in the forefront. It was beautifully done with respect and love for the characters. It was created by Sterling Harjo and
Hmm.
Taika Waititi. The IMDb summary says comedy series about four Native American teenagers growing up on a reservation in eastern Oklahoma. So I watched the whole show, and to me, that series finale really just
Hmm.
paid off
Yeah.
in such an in such an emotional way, which is strange for like a comedy to be so beautifully done and also so vulnerable in a lot of ways.
Hmm.
I'm not going to really say what happens at the end, but I remember watching it by myself because my wife Rosa was working or doing something,
Yeah.
and Um, watching the show, I ended up like just weeping at the end.
Wow.
And I'm not quite a weeper. Granted, it was fairly close to when my stepdad passed, but
Oh,
I just like all this emotion just
sure.
came over me. But it was such a beautiful ending that to me, it was like such a perfect moment watching that show. So, I mean, I'm not sure if it's an amazing ending, really, or if it
Yeah.
was that moment was perfect to accept and take in that ending.
Wow.
So, I definitely recommend it. That was my runner up.
I'm gonna make a note to actually finish that one. That's a hell of a sell, I will say. But I always dug the approach of it, and I'm always a fan of like give me some, give me let's get some real diversity up here in terms of like the type of stories we're telling as well. So
Oh, yeah.
and I love that it has all that heritage to it that apparently created something spectacular at the end.
So, what is your main pick, or do you have another one, another runner up, or anything like that?
Boy, have I got one for you.
All right.
I'm gonna go with I'll talk about one, but then I'll just throw two more at you real fast. How about that?
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. Uh, Cowboy Bebop is a great show,
Hmm.
and it is the anime, not the Netflix show. And good strong ending. Samurai Champloo, a fun show that when it comes to a conclusion, you're like, oh man, that was really fun. Neon Genesis Evangelion. So if anyone's watching and they're into the premise of Neon Genesis Evangelion, which is like a dystopian future where these angelic creatures are coming down to end humanity, we'll say in the most simplistic terms. And our last hope as humanity is these teenagers that have to pretty much pilot these robots to fight the monsters, and it just gets really dark. It gets really deep and psychological, philosophical. There's a lot of pain. And if you do watch it, though, there's also a movie called The End of Evangelion that was made in response to how the last two episodes were. If you were to go about it, my opinion's always going to be skip the last two episodes, just watch End of Evangelion in their stead. Hardcore fans may disagree with me on that, but if you want to do both, but you need to end it with End of Evangelion. That's all I'm saying. It is the one of the greatest animated films of all time. And Avatar: The Last Airbender, great show from beginning to end, and it's a satisfying end.
Heck yeah.
Yeah, but just great shows.
Well, I mean, someone is probably listening that is really into it. So cool.
Yeah,
Thank you for
yeah.
doing that.
Oh, of course. All right. Well, what's your number two?
I had another one. I'm just going to say it really quick, but it doesn't really need to go too much into it. Righteous Gemstones was another honorable mention.
Ooh, okay.
I just thought the ending was great. Hilarious show about family, megachurch, evangelicals, and the people in their bubble.
Hmm.
Makes fun of hypocrisy of these Christian leaders coveting money with such indulgence. Pretty much, I really like the ending because everyone seemed more connected than they were throughout
Hmm.
all the seasons. Also, everyone just had a happy ending. I'm a sucker for it. So yeah,
Yeah. Oh, that's nice. I saw like an episode or two from season one. It's interesting you say that everyone gets a happy ending at the end of it, because I just imagine it's grifters getting what they deserve type thing. But I assume
not
there's
necessarily.
no. Oh, okay.
No, it's just that they connect as a family a little bit more.
Oh, okay.
Throughout all of every season, every episode, the siblings are arguing all the time. They don't really give their father any kind of closure to their mother's death. They're very selfish people for the most
Hmm.
part, but in the end, they kind of are a little bit more selfless, and I think that's really cool.
Oh, that is nice.
Yeah,
Okay. Well, I'm gonna add that to the list too, then, because I'm a huge John Goodman fan, and
he's
Danny
great.
McBride. Yeah.
I will say there is male nudity in the show, so if you're cool with it, check it out. Um,
I've seen myself in a mirror, so I can't be I can't be
I
that
haven't seen
embarrassed.
myself. My main pick is Andor. Have you watched that show?
Oh my God, yes. I can't believe I didn't think of that myself. Please, profess your love to Andor, as will I in turn.
So, loved how the end of Andor ended literally where Rogue One, a Star Wars story, starts. It was seamless, almost sad because you follow Caspian throughout Andor, already knowing his outcome. it enhances Rogue One in every way. Also makes Caspian much more prominent in Rogue One because you know so much about his journey. I watched Rogue One before Andor and then right after Andor, and it hit harder and very differently.
So you said you watched Rogue One before Andor, like just before diving into it?
Yes,
No, I've seen Rogue One when it came out in theaters, and then I was like,
same.
I just want to see how it feels going from this to from the last episode of Andor to Rogue One. I have to admit, I mean, there's just such a Disneyfication that's in Rogue One when comparing it to something as bleak as Andor. Like Andor is a masterclass in narrative storytelling, in my opinion. I think it is. I'd say it's like that and the first season of Mandalorian that has redeemed the Disney acquisition of Star Wars.
I
And
agree.
that is a lot of flops to do that. But that said, Rogue One, and I understand that, that being their second release under the Disney brand, they wanted to make it feel a little more, whimsical, whether it's like lightening up the score or something like that. But I felt like there's that tonal disconnect compared to Andor. But then again, if you were to watch what follows right after that, which is A New Hope, that is obviously far more whimsical and
Yeah.
swashbuckling. So like in that weird sense, it's like I can't attack it because up till now, Rogue One was like my favorite thing. But yeah, man, I just remember what Tony Gilroy, I think, is the showrunner of Andor. He
Yeah.
mentioned that at the end of season one, they wanted to do 5 seasons at one point, but by the time they finished producing season one, I think they also had to navigate the pandemic. And I think because it was such a expensive thing that like Disney was kind of like done financing it. And I think Tony Gilroy expressed the sentiment of like, I don't think I have 4 more seasons of this in me as well. And surprisingly enough, all the time jumps they do in season 2 are they're just so foreboding as you
Mhm.
get closer and closer to that ticking clock of like how this is going to wrap up.
I agree as far as how bleak the show is compared to the movie. It's you said swashbuckling. That's a perfect way to put it. It's almost kind of like Disney and Indiana Jones in a way. Like, hey kid, that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
But
totally.
yeah, the show super bleak, and especially that second season. Oh my god! But
Yeah.
yeah, but I did exactly the same thing you did though. I didn't fully watch Rogue One, to be honest.
Yeah.
After Andor, I did watch the beginning of Rogue One,
Hmm.
and that handoff to me was like seamless.
Oh yeah. Okay. I
Yeah,
mean that the cold open is pretty dark, so I guess
yeah,
that part of it's fine. I think it was just like when in the 2/3 of Rogue One, when Cassian's like, we did a lot of bad things. I'm like in my mind, I'm like, they don't know what the hell they did, and that's like my big gripe with shows like Yellow Jacket. Where like, have you seen that show?
I have. Yeah,
So like I fell off it by the end of season 2, but like I was already kind of done after the pilot because in the adult years they're like we did some really messed up stuff, and I'm thinking these actors don't know because these writers don't know, and so it just doesn't always connect in that regard. But at least with Andor, we do see a very well crafted journey that Cassian goes through that
Mhm.
like from the moment in season 1 where he's arrested at the beach and oh my god, that prison arc that's there.
Andy
So
Circus.
masterfully done. Andy Circus. Oh my god, I can't swim. I was like, that just broke my
Oh
heart. I was like, oh
yeah.
no.
Watching. I remember watching that episode with my mouth just open, like
Oh,
no.
yeah. And the fact that he's overcoming a Circus, that is his character, is overcoming such a fear because like it's more than just thinking like if he plays by the rules, he won't ever drown, knowing full well he's surrounded by water. But like the fact that he finds this courage that you would otherwise just maybe assume that like he's just a selfish grunt or whatever. I mean, in some ways he is, but like I just think that was a wonderful example of like how to do I don't know how to make a motivating character that doesn't have to be like a Jedi Qui-Gon Jinn all the time.
Yeah.
But oh my gosh, the Gorman arc in season 2, where you're just gradually seeing the whole planet just turn into chaos. Oh, it was so heavy. So
Oh,
good.
so let's go into yours. What's your main pick?
My main pick, surprise, surprise, is Breaking Bad. Um, and hold on one second.
So, audience, I actually knew his main pick. This is the first time where I didn't go into it cold. Um,
I should have had
so
this.
I was telling the audience that I did know this one.
Oh, no,
I
you
knew.
did.
Yeah, you told me just because it was the first time I've gone in knowing. So
Yeah.
yeah, this is interesting.
I feel like like you said, the structure may have fallen apart if you didn't know prior, I suppose.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, so I am one of these guys who's bought the barrel. I'm that
Oh
dedicated
my
to this
god.
thing. It's so
S-
freaking good.
So can you describe what you were holding up right
Yes.
now?
Thank you. I'm terrible with that with audio shows. So I've got right here a collector's edition of Breaking Bad. It's a Blu-ray collection that it's in the shape of a black barrel, in spirit of the show where they put all their pesky antagonists and protagonists, in which they have each season has like a symbol that is connected to the show. So in the first season, it's the falling pants, and they're all like separated and collected within these little magnetic like plexiglass strips. So this one, and when you take them apart, they create an object. So like you're seeing a piece of the bear here from season
Mhm.
2. Um, this thing is beautiful. I
Look
got it.
this up, audience. Like this is actually really impressive. I've never seen
Please
anything
look
like
it
that.
up. Yeah, it was something I sorely regret. I didn't have the money at the time when hold on. I gotta get one more thing now. Hold on.
Audience, he's getting one more thing.
It's in storage, but otherwise, I did pick up when the last season premiered a DVD copy of it signed by the cast at a book selling or whatever.
Whoa, that's cool.
Yeah, I if I had the money, I would have got the barrel then and had him sign that, which would have been cooler. But the reason I'm that obsessed about it is because it is a show that has a little bit of a slow beginning, but it's there to set the foundation. You've seen Breaking Bad, right?
Oh yeah, like I've watched the whole thing. I want to say twice as a whole,
Nice.
and then I've watched episodes here and there. And it's one of those shows that if you start watching the episode, you have to finish it.
Oh, 100%. Each one is so wonderfully crafted with conveying tension and drama. It's the greatest thriller that also sprinkles in some really fun comedy when it gets the chance. But it's just such a wild ride that is not only just crafted by a brilliant team of writers, but also the circumstances that were able to take it as far as it could. It was there for me when I was going through a breakup that first season. I actually binge watched the whole first season in one night
Oh
with some
wow.
friends. Yeah, not really expecting much of it, but like it was a pretty strong first season, and it was only I think 7 episodes, and that was because there was the first extenuating circumstance was that there was a writer's strike going on,
Hmm.
and I think it was like the 07-08 writer's strike, which not only helped them cut the season short and kind of like reformulate what they wanted to do, it also saved them from making the terrible decision of killing Jesse Pinkman, which was part of the agenda. Are you familiar with the story?
Never heard that story yet.
So there's a color scheme that goes on in the show, and a lot of it is like thematic and symbolic. So, for instance, when someone's wearing green, there's an act of greed happening. When someone's wearing a color pink, that means somebody's going to die. Jesse's last name is Pinkman, so he's always been on the chopping block for the writers, which they joke to him. Vince has joked on the record to Aaron Paul about how, like, our biggest mistake was not killing you when we did, and unfortunately it worked. I even though they wanted to axe him originally, I think he was a wonderful counterweight to
Mhm.
like just the serious demeanor that Waltz was going to go down. I think the original ending would have been like, I don't think Vince Gilligan, like, he wanted Walter White to become, how he phrases it, he wants to turn Mr. Chips into Mr. Scarface and just
Oh yeah.
transform this character and bring him down such a dark path of irredeemable, heinous activity. So he was originally, I think, going to have a confrontation with Tuco by the end of season 2, which would have been the finale. and which would have involved his son dying. It seemed really silly how he pitched it. But like another extenuating circumstance was that like the actor who played Tuco, whose name I can't remember, wanted to distance himself from the show because I don't think it was getting a lot of good viewership at the time. So
Oh, wow.
they ended up writing him out, and they eventually took the characteristics, not the characteristics of Tuco, but they wanted to take that monolith of like this villain that it pushes Walt to become darker, and eventually put him into Gustavo Fring, who not only was a fantastic antagonist to the series, but also if the show didn't get renewed for a fifth season, which was definitely something that was in talks of whether or not it was even going to go past season 4, he would have been like the ultimate villain to wrap that up, because Walt would have made his transformation by the end of season 4 to the guy who's willing to poison a kid in order to kill his adversaries. I remember at the start of the last season, the back half, and you see Walt, like you were seeing at the last season, Walter White a year or 2 years ahead of where we are in the timeline, and he's just such a haggard mess. And you think, oh, you're going to get to where he is by the end of the season, and then it just kind of ends halfway in. It picks up again. You realize, oh, his house is in shambles. And you're like, what's going to happen here? And so it's just so heavy on the heart, thinking like,
Yeah.
oh, you want it all to just be wrapped up with a bow. You had this great montage where he's just making money hand over fist. He has a storage unit full of money. Let's just call it a day, you know? And just because Hank finds that thing in the bathroom, and then that just snowballs. But next thing you know, neo-Nazis are having a shootout and killing his near and dear family, and then it was spectacular. I'm not as eloquent with you with this. I didn't have anything prepared. I'm just kind of bleeding my heart onto this, and
No, it was great. Yeah, that finale, and I'm not getting too much into it because I believe I had spoken on it in previous episodes.
mhm,
So I'm glad I'm hearing how you felt about it.
mhm.
Um, yeah, that show, it's such a well-written show, but at the end of the day, the finale itself was just someone had mentioned that it was a safe finale. Played it safe. I don't think so. I really don't. I didn't catch that from it.
Well, so in what ways would you say it was risque or controversial?
What I think, I wouldn't say it's super controversial in the finale alone.
Mhm.
I mean, you kind of know he might die or he's gonna get arrested.
Yeah.
I think what I really liked about the episode, I wouldn't say it's controversial, is that he was very self-aware of everything he did and everyone he hurt.
Mhm.
And I thought that was kind of beautiful. But yeah, I don't know. I guess it wasn't really controversial, but I still wouldn't say it was playing it safe. I think it was well thought out, and it
Oh.
was probably giving the fans what they wanted to a certain extent. Although I kind of wonder if they knew about the plans that they had for Jesse Pinkman in El Camino, or
Mm.
if they were just like, hey, let's just like leave him, on the road crying.
Yeah.
But But yeah, I don't know. I kind of wonder about that. But I think that's not really playing it safe as far as like just kind of like leaving a loose end with Jesse Pinkman, unless they already knew that they were going to do El Camino.
Well, I don't I don't know if El Camino was always in store. I don't know too much about its development process, but uh, a couple things that were brought to my attention. Shout out to Peter Cromwell, by the way, who brought up a lot of the symbology to me while the last season was airing. But that, and just like all the Reddit forums out there that show you through the
Yeah.
amazing cinematography of Michael something. Forgetting the name, but please correct me in the comments, I suppose. Um, but there's something about Jesse Pinkman where he's sure you could see him driving a car every once in a while, but like there's like pivotal moments where he's always in riding shotgun, where he's being taken around. For instance, in season 4, when Mike, which is probably my favorite character of the whole series, he ends up taking Jesse out to do pickups, I think, for the drug stashes, and like set him up to kind of manipulate him a bit into thinking he's like a hero and doing a good job or whatever. in season 5, he is taken away to actually also at the top of season 3, Walt drives him home from the clinic after I guess just losing his mind on the after the loss of Jane. And in the last season, though, when he's about to burn down Walt's house, he's escorted away and put into the car by Hank, who's just driving him off and kind of taking him around. And so I think that's supposed to convey how he lacks a free will and to break away from the chains of these terrible choices that he makes, I guess. And seeing him in the driver's seat, I thought was a very fitting ending as he goes off into oblivion while like screaming with for passion and freedom. So I get that, like, it's nice to see him. The idea of El Camino feels like it's a fun, like, get out of Dodge story where it just felt like it was 30 minutes or like it could have been just one episode. It didn't need to be 2 hours long.
Yeah, I
Could
can
have
see
been
that.
truncated.
Yeah.
There was one other thing I wanted. Oh yeah. So someone pointed out to me, and maybe this was by a deliberate choice of the writers, is that the neo-Nazis, Uncle Jack and Todd, they're almost like these reflections, these bizarre versions of Walt and Jesse, so I've been told, which
Oh, I can see that.
yeah, and after defeating like what is supposed to be the Jesse James, I guess, of the show, seeing that like they in a weird way had nowhere to go but down as they ended up facing like the manifestation of their inner demons. And it's interesting. It's great that you mentioned that Walter is so distant from like where his head was at up until the shootout 2 episodes prior, that for him to be able to see everything for what it is and to see not only the flaw in the characters but also the flaw of himself. I almost feels like that's the only way to defeat these inner demons in a sense. So
Yeah.
piggybacking off of you there. But yeah.
Yeah, I kind of really enjoyed that aspect of it because especially when he visits Skylar and he kind of creates that closure between the two.
Yeah.
Although I kind of hoped that he would talk to Phoenix or whatever that kid's name is. Is that his name?
Oh,
Phoenix? Or,
Flynn, I
yeah,
think it was.
Flynn. Fuck,
Yeah.
Flynn, yeah.
Phoenix is cooler though. I kind of like Phoenix.
I would have hoped that he would have talked to Flynn and had some kind of moment with him but it makes sense that his son would just be kind of like, fuck you, dad at that time.
Yeah. That's true. Fun fact, I did meet him once at a bar, RJ Mitty. Really nice
Oh, cool.
guy. Yeah. Just the most charming dude you could imagine.
He seems like you'd be.
Yeah, he is. The fact that going back to that last scene where he's like getting off the bus and making his way back indoors. Oh gosh, like the fact that throughout the entire series, Jesse and Flynn never interact. I thought that almost made that last shot even more like tragic because like Walt doesn't even go to him. He doesn't even acknowledge him. And you just see his reflection as he's just kind of like fading away. And meanwhile, he saves Jesse's life and gives him freedom.
Yeah. Wow. I didn't think about that. Yeah. Great pick. I mean, yeah, it's a great show, great ending. It's probably, I think, one of the most perfect endings, to be honest, from my opinion. I just didn't want to choose it because I knew you chose it. So
That's fair. But you did choose a great one. Andor is certainly up there. Is one of the greatest shows ever, which, yeah. So
perfect.
great picks on your end.
Well, that has been our episode. Matt, thanks for being on Best Most. Matt will be joining us next week when we answer the question, what is the most iconic movie? Matt, would you like to plug anything or give any shout outs?
Yeah, you know what? I am going to plug a little project that we've been, me and my friends, shout out to Zach Jumper and Steve Craig, been running for a while. It's called the Breakneck Film Race. If you're a filmmaker who just needs a reason to practice the craft, if nothing else, we do it quarterly. Our next race, which I guess by the time this goes, it would have been announced. It's going to be June 8th to the 14th. There's no fees to sign up. There's no prizes except the ability to hop on a call with us afterwards. We have a virtual watch party, and we like to just kind of like show and tell with everybody. It's a lot of fun. and we'd love to see whatever films you want to make. And if you happen to live in the Long Island area, there's a fun little screening event in store, which I'll let those people talk more on. But yeah, it's called Breakneck Film Race. YouTube, it's at Breakneck Film Race. Same with IG. And yeah, thanks for having me, Jose. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, man. So let's see. Thank you to everyone who answered our questions. And also, thank you for listening. If you're listening and want to know where to find the questions or for future episodes, add best.most.pod on Instagram. Also, rate, like, comment, subscribe. I truly appreciate it. And remember, there are no guilty pleasures when it comes to music, movies, and all art preferences. Love what you love, enjoy what you enjoy. That connection is such a gift. And until next time, take care and take care of each other. Bye.
Ciao.